this video, I'll teach you how to hunt rutting mountain bucks. It can be tough in thousands of acres of big woods, but I'll show you some of the things I key in on that helps me be successful. It's important to hunt in areas that does are using. Even if there isn't a lot of buck sign in the area, they will show up. Some of the biggest mountain bucks I've taken are in areas with just 1 or 2 rubs, but there are does present. Does will be using the heavily used trails along with some young bucks, but I like to focus and watch on those faint trails. Usually I'll find a faint trail or two close by those heavily used trails, and that is the ones that I see the mature bucks using. If I find an active scrape, I hang a camera on it to see if it's getting used during the daytime at all. If I don't find a scrape, I will make a mock scrape and hang a camera on it. There have been some scrapes and mock scrapes that I have seen deer frequent more during daylight than at night. You just have to experiment with cameras and let the deer tell you when they use it the most. I like to have many different areas to hunt. The reason for this is because I don't want to put too much pressure on one area. Some areas I hunt are usually not too good after 3 sits. Choose your hunts wisely and hunt them when the time and the weather is right. Mountain deer are pretty sensitive to pressure. They really aren't used to human scent in a lot of the remote areas that I hunt in. So that's why I think it's important to not put very much pressure on one spot, because I have seen deer go nocturnal because of a little too much pressure. The best time of day to be in the woods from what I've seen has been hands down during the mornings. From what I've observed, a lot of mature mountain bucks are on the move between about 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. But however, I've seen some really big mountain bucks from about 10:30 until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I rarely see deer of the evenings unless a front is moving in. As far as calling goes, I've had the most success grunting. Rattling works occasionally, but it's best used right before the breeding phase of the rut. Sometimes it'll work when they're breeding, but I'm really careful with rattling because if you don't use it during the right time, it's probably going to do you more harm than good from what I've noticed. Bleat calls have worked for me. They're pretty effective, especially during the peak of the rut. I will usually use a bleat call a few times and then follow it with a few short grunts. With mountain deer, they are usually timid with calling, so I don't get very aggressive with it and I don't call a whole lot. I avoid using scent attractants in the mountains. I've never had any success using them. I've seen it spook deer. I've literally watched deer blow at it before. So I usually just try to avoid that stuff and just go without scent. I believe the best scent is no scent. Most of the terrain features I have success on during the rut are funnels and flats. Small shelves on the sides of ridges are productive too. I never hunt on big tops. Mature mountain bucks don't like walking them. However, I have saw nice bucks use small finger ridges. That's where I typically find a lot of scrapes and rubs in the mountains. A lot of the mountain bucks love making scrapes under ivy bushes on those finger ridges, especially if it's next to a flat. So I'm always looking at finger ridges, and if I see ivies on them and it's got a lot of cover, I usually go and look on it because I'll typically find a scrape or two if there's a buck in the area. If the acorn drop is slim and there's not a lot of food in the woods, don't expect to see very much rutting activity. On years like that, I usually don't even find very much buck sign. But when I'm hunting and it's tough like that, I usually try to hunt the freshest sign I can find. Always keep in mind when hunting big woods mountain bucks, they can be literally anywhere. There are thousands of acres of woods where I hunt, so I always remember that it's not easy to see deer in such a huge area with a very small deer population. If you have any questions on how to hunt mountain whitetails, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message, and I'll answer the best I can. Thank you for watching.